Hey everybody, it's me, LisaT, coming at you with some positive energy. Reading The Language of Letting Go by Beattie. I can't believe we're coming to the end of this. It's so crazy. Um, yeah, I think we'll just get right into it and see what the reading has in store for me. I've been I've shared it in the last videos. Like I'm in this major spiritual journey or spiritual experience in September 17th. And the last few days have been about surrender, like really surrendering. And I'm feeling very, there's a new sense of calmness. It's a we and it's uncomfortable for me. I don't like it because I'm used to being like anxious. And I thought it was going to sustain, but there's still stuff is still coming up, and I have a sense from some experiences I had on Monday, a couple days ago, with some friends and speaking to a client too. Like I'm still not honoring some of the feelings that are going on inside of me, because I tend to, because I'm a helper and I'm a giver and I'm a supporter and so I show up for others, but I gotta remember to reach out for that support myself, and to, because it's not until there's like the odd person in my life that can say like, how you doing, and I just all of a sudden start crumbling because they're able to like get to the core of it, get to my reality, get to my truth, and see that I have some stuff going on, and I need to be hugged, I need to be held, and that's okay, and I need to allow that to be available for myself. So yeah, so I still got a little work to do. We're always going to be a work in progress. The reason I share that is because we're almost at the end, and I don't think that I should be like all of a sudden I honor all my feelings and I never have codependency. No, it's not about that. It's learning. It's all about like now applying and practicing, and stuff's going to come up. We're going to get triggered. We're humans, until we're Buddhists sitting on the underneath the Buddha tree, and found the oneness of observing the observed and the observer, the oneness of that thing, in life. That I don't know if that resonates with you. Being the subject and the object being the same thing. The way I observe it, knowing that is me too, and the oneness. Until on that, I'm still gonna have little bumps in the road, and that's okay. So work rules. Okay, expectations of others. December 20th. Expectations of others. It is our job to identify our needs. It's our job. Our job to identify our needs. I hate it sometimes. I hate that I have needs because when I voice them and they don't get met, it's so effing painful. See, there it is. Why is that? Because recently I voiced a need, like a need that and it wasn't able to get met, and it made me turn on myself. It made me think I'm bad and wrong. I'm just reflecting on that right now. This just happened, and it's painful. That's what I did as a little girl. I decided I'm going to have no needs because I had needs that weren't getting met, and it was more painful to have needs not getting met than it was to have no needs. This is a big one for me. So expectations of others. So where does this come in? So it's our job to identify our needs and then determine a balanced way of getting those needs met. We ultimately expect our higher power and the universe, not a particular person, to be our source. Okay, there it is. Right. And I know that source is going to, higher power, God is going to meet my needs. God sees me. God, and that might sound silly to just like say that instead, like, oh, God sees, God's going to meet my needs. God's going to make me feel valuable, loved, appreciated, all these wonderful things. And it might sound silly because it's like, well, no, I need that person. I need that person to do that. But actually, no, when we reach to God, what I've learned in my experience when I get on this, when I'm practicing this really well, is that when I reach to God to meet and to know that need is met, then I end up like knowing that it's just, there's a knowing, and I'm okay, and I don't have needs from other people really. So and then not one particular person. So it says we also expect our higher power and the universe, not one particular person, to be our source. So never one just particular person. That's why we need a support system, a support team, right, around us. So it is unreasonable to expect anyone to be able or willing to meet our every request. So we're going to come, some people are going to, but they're not going to be able to meet every single request, and that's okay. One of my really good friends that I've been doing a lot of this like internal work with recently in the last few years, we made a needs and wants list. I wrote it out, and then I shared it with her, and we went through it, and I was like, She's like, well, that's not actually a need. That's more of a preference. And I'm like, oh, it was really eye-opening. So getting stuff on paper. What do I think my needs are? And are these actually needs after I get them on paper? Analyze them, look at them. Because it's unreasonable to have someone meet every request. Sure, people are, of course, someone's going to meet some, this one, that one, this one, this one, but not every single one. Can we let that go? Can we let that go in the name of happiness, in the name of peace? We are responsible for asking for what we want and need. It's the other person's responsibility to freely choose whether or not to respond to our request. If we try to coerce or force another to be there for us, that's controlling. And it's never right. We've talked about controlling never works. It never works. It's a pressure that's not good. Not like massage pressure. That one's really great and it relieves stuff. But when we put pressure on others, people pop. So there's a difference between asking and demanding. We want love that is freely given. It is unreasonable and unhealthy to expect one person to be the source for meeting all our needs. Ultimately, we will become angry and resentful, maybe even punishing towards that person for not supporting us as we expectations. It is reasonable to have certain well-defined expectations of our spouse, children, and friends. If a person cannot or will not be there for us, then we need to take responsibility for ourselves in that relationship. We may need to set a boundary, alter our expectations, or change the limits of the relationship to accommodate that person's availability. We do this for ourselves, not for them. We're doing this for us. That's a good paragraph there. So if a person cannot or will not be there for us, then we need to take responsibility for ourselves in that relationship. We may need to set a boundary, alter our expectations, or change the limits of the relationship to accommodate that person's unavailability. So recognize they're unavailable, and now you're going to change the limits of this relationship. We do this for ourselves. It is reasonable to sprinkle our wants and needs around and to be realistic about how much we ask or expect of any particular person. It is reasonable. It's reasonable to be realistic about how much we ask or expect of any particular person. We can trust ourselves to know we can trust ourselves to know what's reasonable. Trust yourself to know what's reasonable. And this takes insight, right? And pauses and moments of reflection. The issue of expectations goes back to knowing that we are responsible for identifying our needs, believing they deserve to get met. That's key. If you have a need, but you don't believe, this is where I suffer, believe that I deserve to get it met, you're going to trip wires there. So the issue of expectation goes back to knowing that we are responsible for identifying our needs, believing they deserve to get met, and then discover an appropriate, satisfactory way to do that in our life. Up to you. Here's your prayer for today. Today, I will strive for reasonable expectations about getting my needs met in relationships. Today, I will strive for reasonable expectations about getting my needs met in relationships. Say that a few times and then see what it looks like. What does that look like? After I've said that a bunch of times, what does that look like in my life? After I said that, what does it look like? How do I behave when I'm setting reasonable expectations about getting my needs met in a relationship? What does that look like? How do I feel inside? What do my words come out like? How do I say things? How do I tone things? Right? So today I will strive for reasonable expectations about getting my needs met in relationships. It is up to me. It's up to you. Take care of yourself. Know your needs. Know you deserve to get them met too. And know that if they're not getting met there, they can get met there, or always up from the higher powers above. Thanks for watching. That's it. Thanks for watching. I love you all. Please hit subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know you're on the journey with me, loving these videos and learning the language of letting go. Yay. Namaste.